Hi everybody, I'm Raven the Swift. If you don't know me, I'm a Warlord Sword Knight in the game of Amtgard. I've been doing foam fighting for about 20 years. Started when I was 12 years old. I have 15 tournament wins under my belt under 6 kingdoms, so I have a lot of tournament experience. And today we're going to review some of the tournament footage from Known World War that happened a couple weeks ago. We're not going to talk about any of the shots called or anything like that. What we're going to really do is examine some of the strategies used by the competitors to get wins or reasons why they lost. We'll be examining some of the technical errors that they make or some of the tactical decisions that they make to help them win. So let's go ahead and start it. Okay, so first off, you got a guy who's not a warlord versus a guy who's is a warlord. The guy in yellow didn't make any preparations when he started the engagement. I'm going to go ahead and slow this down for you guys so that we have more time to talk. Okay. So it's slowed down. Feeling each other out. Terminus is a pretty good warlord. He's from the wetlands down in Houston. His opponent seems cool with coming in range with him. Luckily he avoided that arm shot. He knows a good setup. Behind the leg looks like. His opponent got hit in the leg and just seems okay just taking shots. Not a very good tactical decision. Obviously Terminus won there. That's his battle cry. So I think the guy in yellow there could have avoided that by just simply backing up and not getting stunned. People have a tendency to think too often when they're getting hit. It's called analysis paralysis. They'll just sit there and eat shots. It's not very good. So here we have Keone versus, his name eludes me, Corvo. Corvo's from Tennessee, Keone's from St. Louis. Keone's almost a warlord, he's pretty close. Corvo is relatively new to the scene, but he's still very, very skilled. Alright, we're feeling each other out. Corvo making more lateral movement here. See what he can bait out of Keone. Nice cross. Forward shot. Okay, that missed. Not bad. Corvo's doing a good job at keeping himself safe while throwing fishing shots. Ah, nice. Okay, it looked like that board side shot didn't hit Keone. Looked like an almost shot. And Corvo kind of got caught thinking that he possibly killed him, but I guess he didn't, and he ended up hitting a hip shot. Alright, let's see how Corvo adapts. Ooh, nice board side shoulder shot. He committed a little bit more and is a little bit closer with that board side shoulder shot, which allowed him to get deeper and actually hit that shoulder. It's good move by Corvo. I like that he threw that safe shot coming in because he already knew how Keone was going to react, which allowed him to transverse the distance to get in. Each other out still. Let's see what happens. Keone's stance is really high. I think he should be lower here. Leg. Double leg. Yeah. Keone's standing a little bit too high. His feet were a little bit too relaxed. His feet were a little too close together. When that happens, you become really vulnerable to a double leg. Those are really common in Amtgard just because they just are, I guess. It's a meta move developed by a couple of warlords, but yeah. Shimazu versus some guy, I don't know who this is. Shimazu is a warlord out of Rivermore, which is like central Midwest. Come in, throwing them dark sides. Shimazu loves dark sides. Shimazu playing it relatively safe, using his range as he should. See, Shimazu's stance is a little high here too. But he has pretty good footwork, so it doesn't matter as much. His feet aren't relaxed. Yeah, just throwing tons of dark sides. Those are pretty safe for him. His opponent doesn't seem to want to overwhelm him by using any positioning after the fact. Crosses. I suspect Shimazu will start committing a little bit more. Yeah, now that Shimazu took his leg, he can do everything to his opponent. His opponent really can't do anything about it. Shimazu's footwork, retreating footwork is very good. and he throws really safe shots. He uses his range pretty effectively. I think Shimazu's like 6'3" or something like that. Real lanky. I don't know what his opponent's gonna be able to do. If I was him, I would try to probably throw at Shimazu's leg and throw a dark side. But doing what he just did is bad. Nice. Shimazu just fished up that shield side shoulder, started raising his board, moving his equipment out of the way, and then finally took his other leg. It's a good setup by Shimazu.
Okay. No, we're good.
I like that Shimazu there didn't really rely on his opponent to attack in any particular direction, and really he just conditioned his opponent to move where he wanted him to move so that he could get into the area where he wanted to hit, which is excellent for tournaments. If you're relying on your opponent to react, he tends to slow down the fight. Ooh, he could have went for a dark side there, but didn't. His opponent here still complacent, playing in the mid-range, or even far away, where Shimazu's strong. Probably doing that because he's using a punch shield. If you get a strap shield, I think he could get closer. Nice. Shimazu got him to stick on his opponent's left side, opening up his opponent's right side leg and right side shoulder. All right, we have Ferrex here, and Ferrex is a warlord out of St. Louis, very good, versus Cage, also out of St. Louis. Nice by Cage, take that warlord's leg. If someone gives you a leg in a tournament, you should probably take it, just because. Footwork is so prevalent right now in the game that taking someone's mobility is all really high, and they probably lack the skill set to be able to fight with no mobility or fight from close range. Oh, nice. Ferrex got hit in the back. I thought he was going to get that double leg.
First leg, and then I hit it, and he got the second leg. But I think it's all in time. Okay. That's I just need to tell my students what happened. Thank you. Okay. It's for me. You talk it out. Alright, already.
0-0. Okay, it was a Simo. That was a really nice double leg, man. Nice high cross. Nice Cage. Cage really kept it together there when under pressure from Ferrex, and just answered his high crosses with superior high crosses. Ferrex was a little bit out of position for those high crosses. His equipment was moving more than Cage's was, and Cage could really keep a solid position and just continue to fire shots at him. That's really important for tournaments. When you start getting out of place and losing position, that's when you start losing.
Yeah, great.
That's one of my favorite exchanges for the whole tournament. Ferrex used lateral movement to escape the stab and turn into a draw cut by his opponent and threw a wrap around his arm, which is excellent. Super, super cool. So, looks like he takes that back away. I want to say 1 point Ferrex. I'm not sure, though. I should have looked at the timing on Cage's return shot when Ferrex threw that wrap. My apologies.
I'm a good. Alright, 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0. Nice, Cage. That was a really good setup by Cage. Ferrex's legs were pretty linear. Cage pushed one direction, got him to overcompensate, came back the other way, opened up his inside on his sword side. Very good. It's a really common setup, but he made it work. 1-1. Very good. Yeah, that's a really common setup. I think if Ferrex had been a little bit more patient, he could have fished that out of him without losing the positioning. But Ferrex was showing that he wanted to come forward, and his body language was in such a way that you could read that he really wanted to come forward. And then when he did, Cage kind of counterattacked a little bit, but it wasn't actually a counterattack. He just attacked him when Ferrex's intention was to come forward, which is important to know.
No.
Oh, wow, nice. Good call. Yeah, see, Ferrex opened up on the low line first. Cage had the superior position. Ferrex was actually out of position when he threw that. He potentially could have won the low line game. Unfortunately, he just didn't have it. He probably needed to come out to Cage's shield side a little bit more to cover his right side shoulder when he throws that dark side. You need the position of your equipment and you need the position of your body in order to make those successful. So very good job by Cage for keeping his cool and maintaining his strong positions throughout those fights. Again, Keone versus Termis here. Termis is very good, as I explained before. He has a very good blitzing style, and he adapts it very well. He doesn't do anything terribly fancy, but it's very efficient and it's very clean most of the time. My favorite thing about how this exchange started was Keone threw into the low line where Termis' guard was strong. Termis knew that he missed that shot and immediately pressed in and started blitzing him with attacks. That's basically the perfect thing that you should do in a lot of cases. If your opponent's weapon is trapped on the side of your body and they can't get it back, well, normally they would be able to, but if you close range and they can't get it back and their weapon remains out of position for a longer period of the fight or the exchange, you get free attacks on them. Like, you should never not attack somebody when their weapon's trapped, and you should seek to trap the weapon with your body. If they put themselves in that kind of situation where they might miss a stab, pressing on them would stop them from being able to answer any of the attacks that you have. See what Keone does about that. I'm sure he won't throw a blatant stab at him again. Nice. Termis came in expecting Keone to throw high, but he threw his dark side money shot type shot too early. Keone is able to read that and throw it his body instead, which is good by Keone and not just reacting. I think if Termis would have taken like one extra step, not with his feet but with his weapon and gear, and maybe set that up a little bit better, it would have worked. He didn't. So we're going to go back a little bit. My favorite thing about this exchange, Termis gets Keone's hand trapped on this low line indirectly. He pump fakes down, his weapon's trapped, he's pitting him, can't answer. Cool. So, Termis came into range with his hand low. He pump faked low, keeping Keone's guard down, and moved in. And what that does is, it creates indirect pressure and threat to your opponent on the low line to where Keone couldn't move his guard up. He had to keep it low because Termis achieved the position that he wanted with the level that he wanted and the threat where he wanted it. And once he decided to make an attack, which was that high side shoulder shot, Keone couldn't do anything about it because he was too concerned about what was going to come low. And when Keone didn't have any threat pressure, he couldn't do anything about it besides wait. If he had better footwork, he could have moved out of the way. He could have changed the angle to where it's no longer a threat. Could have possibly done something else, maybe thrown at that low line, but it looked like he wasn't very confident at it. It's kind of one of the times where like you need footwork and you need other things to be able to defend yourself when you don't know what's going on. So that's why you have to keep a low stance, keep your feet kind of wide sometimes, and be prepared to move. Cage versus Shimazu. Pretty good. Nope. Cage got a nice arm shot. Shimazu got that leg. This is a pretty good position for Cage. So he has the superior defensive position, but Shimazu has a very long game. And when I say long, I mean physically long. Even with his left hand, I mean, if Cage doesn't know how to fight at Shimazu's arm, it's going to be very hard for Cage to kill him. Yeah, he overreached there. There was no reason for him to actually do that. he has the shield and he's relatively small. He could have sat back and just waited for Shimazu to overextend. Unfortunately, Cage, he being a younger guy, looked like he was eager to try to kill Shimazu, but there's one of the times where patience is really important, and you just need to wait. So 1 point Shimazu. Kill him with his left hand. It's pretty good. Oh, he blocked it. Okay. Cage like that high cross. Shimazu loves that dark side. Oh, nice. Let's go back to that. I want to see how that setup worked. I think it works because Shimazu throws this dark side and it almost hit Cage. So when Cage... Yeah, he almost hit some of that dark side, okay? So Shimazu showed him, hey, I can dark side you. Shimazu pump fakes. Yeah, when Shimazu pump faked, Cage brought his shield down to cover his arm, and that allowed Shimazu to throw that shield side shoulder shot. I'm going to pause this real quick because this is an important lesson. This is a perfect example of conditioning your opponent in a tournament. In most tournaments, it's best 2 out of 3, so you have 2 to 3 rounds condition your opponent to really simple things. And a really simple setup in an individual round is super important too. You basically want to show your opponent something and make it threatening enough to where like they're going to react to it, and then all you do is throw the exact same attack or feint off of it, and then throw the shot that you actually want. And then you can rotate between rounds, and so on and so forth. As long as you keep the fight relatively simple and you don't give your opponent too much information or too much context about what you might do, they will also similarly react very simply. They react simply to whatever you're doing. So because Shimazu only threw a dark side at him, Cage only knew to expect a dark side. And when he reacted to the dark side, he just went boop boop, shield side shoulder. It's a perfect setup. Good job by Shimazu. Cage, you should probably just be a little more patient, feel out your opponent a little bit more, especially if you're fighting a warlord or someone like that. Even no matter how good or bad that warlord might be, they have enough success in tournaments to understand how to win them, and you should be considerate of those facts. Cage versus Keone again. Coming up with that flat cross. Keone threw that big dark side. Unfortunately, he's not using his equipment enough to make the space to make that shot faster. Good high crosses there by Cage. Kept himself in a strong defensive position to block Keone's return shots, even though Keone looks like he has 5 inches on him.
I blocked.
Oh. Oh, Keone calls dead because he accidentally put his head in the way. It's a great call. Good honor by Keone. There's a lot of shots that come in that accidentally hit you in the head. Keone said he felt like he intentionally moved his head, so good honor. But the Reavers disagree with Keone's decision.
Money shots literally call for it. Don't count dead because you accidentally face shot.
1-0. Official Reave decision.
Weird honor. Weird honor.
Weird honor.
Bizarre tournament.
Yes.
I should have fought it. It was fun.
Cage coming with that cross. Kind of baits Keone into throwing the shield side shoulder shot. Cage is winning the pressure here. He keeps coming forward at Keone. Yeah, he got Keone to react into a bad position. I like that because he kind of baited Keone to come forward. Keone lost his strong position on the center line, and then eventually just got hit by a cross. Arm. Nice shot, Cage. See, that's the patience I would really want from somebody in these particular situations. Cage is doing a great job of handling his opponent, although he got hit in the arm, so whatever. Just cover a little bit more. be more precautious than you need to be. Good stab by Cage. Keone didn't parry it as much as he needed to. Didn't quite use as much footwork as he needed to. I don't think he actually needed to move his feet, but he really needed a stronger parry there. If you don't have good parries, then you need to move your feet more, unfortunately. Okay, we have Termis versus Shimazu. This is going to be really interesting because Termis has a very good forward game and Shimazu has a very good retreating game. So we'll see how that comes out in the first round. Terminus feeling him out here. Shimazu throw a big stab, nice. Shimazu uses... Okay, Shimazu just got his leg. Terminus ended up... Yeah. I think if Shimazu hadn't thrown that big stab and lost his strong position at the beginning of it, thrown something more conservative, he would have won. Nice. See, Shimazu opened up with a real simple shot at the very beginning that allows him to keep his strong position and answer what Terminus is doing in a conservative way. So all this is what I'm explaining about keeping your strong position is just an economy of motion thing. If you throw away your strong position at the beginning, spend too many resources, your opponent doesn't have to spend as many, they can answer back with less resources. Versus if I, say for instance, don't do as much and I'm more conservative, typically they have to spend more resources to attack when they come to attack. And if they do that, you can manipulate them because they threw themselves out of position. So Terminus is legged here, Shimazu is not. 1-0 to... Oh, it's 1-1, okay. I think Terminus is going to be really patient here. Yeah, he goes. Terminus needs to be real careful here. Because he has to overextend to hit Shimazu in the leg, and Shimazu can just attack from a consolidated position. There's not a lot of context either of these guys have to work off of to be able to hit each other. I think Terminus really needs to bait him probably and get him to overextend so he can throw a simple attack. Sorry, my dog barked. There we go. Simple responses. Oh, yeah. Terminus got him to extend a little bit too much when he threw across. Terminus was able to throw his flat cross back side as well. And he was able to take some of Shimazu's resources when he made his attack, which is good. Only the leg? Okay, so they're both legged. I guess he didn't hit him in the arm. Shimazu's got Terminus has a hamstring cramp. Very, very uncomfortable. Both these guys are legged. I think Terminus might win this because he's better at close range fighting than Shimazu is. This is typically a good display of fundamental skill when two people are legged. Nice. Okay, so Shimazu got hit in the dead leg, which makes sense. And he let his opponent recover, which is good. Shimazu's overextended here, and gets eaten by the shield side wrap. So because Shimazu extended so much during that exchange, when he goes to recover, he also has to overcompensate and and spend too many resources to overcompensate. You know what I mean? Like, he has to overreact, and because he did that, he ended up getting hit. Anyway, so yeah, that was the first recording I've done. Let's pause this real quick. We're not going to watch this anymore. So I hope you guys learned something by my first review of these tournament videos. And it's so important to be aware of how you're spending your resources against different types of opponents. When someone's really conservative, you don't want to spend too many resources trying to attack them initially. You want them to overcompensate in some way and then spend your resources once you get them to overcompensate and kill them. If you spend too many resources when you on your initiating attack, you're more likely to lose against a conservative opponent. It's really simple. And being aware of that versus different types of opponents is really important. When you're fighting someone low skill, you need to be aware of they might just spend a lot of resources for no reason to do something. If you're even when you're trying to be conservative, like, oh, I'm just going to throw this light attack at them, they might zerg on you and just throw some bullshit attack. Versus someone like, say, they're really high end. You need to be aware of when you're overextending, when you're choosing to. You need to be aware of where your skills are. And when I say that, because if you lack in a certain skill area, a high skill fighter will be aware of that and they will exploit that. If you don't have good footwork and you're fighting a high skill opponent, you need to be aware of that as well, so you're not reliant, so that you're covering up for that weakness in some manner. An example of Keone, his footwork wasn't very good, and he usually got out footworked by his opponent. And it didn't seem like it that much, like they weren't dancing around him, but he wasn't using his feet to defend himself. And when you do that, you put yourself in a hazardous position to where a third of your defense is gone, ostensibly. And if you spend too many resources trying to attack and you don't have the footwork to back it up, then your opponent can trap you in positions and ultimately win. So, hope that helps, guys. I'm going to be doing more of these, and I'll check you later.